we will always find the time to do what we really want to do. We will always find the time to do what we really want to do. Isn't that true? You know, if it has to do with pleasure, we'll find the time. If it has to do with our lusts and desires, we'll make the time. If it has to do with our addictions, we will find the time to give in to those addictions. We will find the time to do the things we really want to do. My question today is, do you have enough time to find God? Now, it's not that God is lost and needs to be found, but it's time that we find God in every situation, in every circumstance, be it glad, be it bad, be it whatever, to find God in the circumstance and situation. So I asked myself, where is God when probably over 200,000 people have lost their lives in an earthquake? Where is God in this? Do we find God in the stories of the people that refuse to give up? Do we find God in the hundreds of thousands of people that are donating money and their time? Do we find God in the celebrities who check their egos for a day and come together and sing songs of encouragement and helping us to understand the importance of giving? Where is God when 200,000 people perish? Where is God? We can find God in every situation in life. So I tell you now, in crisis, there's opportunity. In crisis, there's opportunity. Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm optimistic. What are you optimistic about? What's going on? What's going on? What are you optimistic about? You know? Are you optimistic about, Lord, I'll sit through here and he'll be done in a few minutes and it'll be over? Crisis is an opportunity for us to be optimistic. It gives us a chance to see who we really are, to see what we're made of, to see that there is something within us that is greater than who we are. It allows us to experience a power that can only surface when we're going through something that is devastating. When we get to that point in our lives where we know it's just God that has brought us through. Just God that has brought us through. And our New Testament, it calls it, this is the acceptable time. This is the acceptable time. So does it mean that there are times when it's not acceptable? I tell you right now, it's not acceptable when those are prayers that go up that are selfish prayers, prayers that go up that are evil and filled with hatred, prayers that don't make a difference, and prayers that are said by spiritual leaders that I contend must be forgiven. Verse 4 says, makes it crystal clear that we're ministers of God. Each and every one of us have a direct relationship with God, and that relationship demands that we pay attention to what's going on. And pay attention to people that call themselves spiritual leaders, yet are able to say to a nationwide audience that because of some evil pact that was made 200 years ago when Africans freed themselves from slavery, that this brought on the devastation of 200,000 people. That is not of God. And I'm tired of spiritual leaders getting up there professing that this is of God. It's got to be about love. It's got to be about love. It cannot be about that which is not about love. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful of people who put themselves in positions and say, "Thus saith the Lord." And they create things of this world, such as the Ku Klux Klan. For do not forget, it is a spiritual organization founded in Christ. So what is this? Can we find God in this? Can we find God in this? Can we find God in this? Yes, we can. Because I figured it all out. I figured it all out. God wanted me to pray for Pat Robertson. That's all this is about. He needed to hear me pray for him. As simple as that. But then I thought about it. How many followers, how many people actually believe this demented, this God-inspired gentleman? That's a better way of putting it. You and I've said over and over again, to not sit in judgment. I've said over and over again, to not sit in judgment. So I refuse to judge this man. I refuse to do it. Even though those are words from the devil. So what I did is what I'm going to ask you to do. Find time for God. Find time for God, and when you find time for God, you'll find time to forgive. So I forgive Pat Robertson. The question now is, what do you need to do? Who do you need to forgive? Who has wronged you? Who has done something to you that was not of God, that is causing you at this point some anguish? Who do you need to reach out to? Who is it that you must forgive? Sometimes it has to start with you. Sometimes you have to forgive yourself. The scripture goes on to say, do not blame. Sometimes we think about the reason why we're going through something is because we have to blame somebody. We got to blame. It can't be ourselves. I've been blaming Dale all this time for this weight loss or the lack of it. She keeps feeding me. She keeps putting it out there, and I keep eating it. It's whose fault? It's Dale's fault. It's not my fault. I feel better about it. It got nothing to do with me. It's her fault. And that's what it's about. It is easy for us to blame others for something that we have to take on. Our responsibility on who we are, the God in us. The God in us. And we need to take time to find God in every situation. Turn to your neighbor, look them in the eye, and said, I found God in you.